Hello, and welcome back to How to Connect with Humans. This is episode 5 of series 2.
Yep.
Hello, Wayne.
Hello.
It's so lovely to see you.
You too.
We have an anniversary today, don't we?
We do.
Yeah, 7 years. 7
You
years.
putting up with me.
The 7, yeah. And we haven't got the itch yet. Well, we got certain itches, but I'm not going to share that with you. Okay, so... So today we have an amazing, absolutely fantastic special guest that we love so much. We have trained together with the same teachers from the beginning, with Ian Watson and Carol Burrows, and so we came to this understanding in a way, in the same way. And we really love Elizabeth because she's incredibly passionate about things. She just gets something in her mind, she thinks has to be done, and there she goes. Nothing will stop Elizabeth ever. That's my feeling. So today she's Elizabeth Lovius, who is what obviously who we're talking about, is a specialist in change, and she's gonna tell us a bit more about her and her work and how she came across this and what she's doing at the moment. And she's working with Dr. Bill Pettit, and the whole series is an amazing job they're doing together. Yeah. So without further ado, the name of this episode is
Letting Wisdom Lead.
Letting Wisdom Lead. Hello, Elizabeth. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, let wisdom lead. Well, I'm just going to kind of talk a bit about wisdom and being human. And then I really, if you've got questions or you want to hear more about anything, just let me know in the chat or let Carolina and Wayne know. But I want to leave some space for you to ask anything you want to ask, because I'm very happy to engage with anything. And why do I feel happy to do that? Because what is it? We can often get really caught up in our heads when we're like on a podcast or we're doing a presentation. Let's say that. Apparently there's a statistic that says that people would rather die than do presentation. So I'm wondering what they think will happen when they do a presentation. But many people are so concerned with how their experience of giving a presentation and what it will be like, what people will think of them, that they don't want to do, there's a lot of angst about it. But I don't have that. And I'm going to tell you why I don't have that. And I'm probably I could get adrenaline surges sometimes, but I don't have it because two things. I know how to connect with humans. And the best way to do that is to be one. That's kind of bleeding obvious, right? But I mean, just be human and know that the person that you're speaking to is also human. So you can meet them there already. So that takes care of a whole lot of stuff, right? Yep. I can meet you at the human level, no matter who you are. I already know that, and so can you with anyone. So that's the first thing. I don't have to worry about that because I've got that being human bit down, and so do you. And the second thing I know is I don't have to figure out ahead of time very much about what I'm going to do and say. In fact, Carolina, Wayne and I had to stop ourselves because we were kind of doing the podcast when we were chatting before. So we were like, well, let me just go make a cup of tea because, this is really so flowing, it's just going to be what we talk about. And so the second thing is I know to let wisdom lead. Not my fears, not my ideas of how I should be and you should be. Not what I think Carolina wants, because I think it's her that's the bossy one, but don't tell her. Not what I think Wayne wants, not what I think you want. Oh, Wayne's the bossy one. Not what I think you want. Because all of that would get in the way of what's here now that wants to be expressed and felt and heard. So if I know that I can meet you human to human, because I am one and so are you, and I know that I have wisdom, I don't need much else. I don't know what else I need. I mean, food. I like food, water, sleep works. I'm going to put sex in there. But, I don't know what else I actually need. Not on this call. I'm not doing sex on this call. But I'm, I'm drinking something. But I've got what is needed. And all I'm ever dealing with, no matter who I'm talking to, is a fellow human being. So how do I know that? Well, because I've worked with over 10,000 people, probably now nearly 20,000 people in my life, or with the intention to point them back home. I didn't know that's what I was doing for the first 2/3 of my career, but for the last third, I definitely knew that's what I was doing. And I was doing it without realizing I was doing it. That's what I was looking for. So, one of the things Wayne and and Carolina and I just talked about is, do we want to ask you what you want, or do we want to just have me talk? That's just real time behind the curtain. That's what we talked about. And I said, well, we could ask them. And actually, I want to give space for questions at the end for what their interest is. I already know what they want. Because I'm human. This is what you want. Tell me if you don't. This is the answer to the Spice Girl question, by the way. Tell me what you want, what you're in. Right.
Spice Girls.
You want an experience. And the experience you want is one of these words will resonate for you out of the four. You want an experience of peace. You want an experience of love. You want an experience of fulfillment, or you want an experience of freedom. And one of those will be your word, maybe all of them, if you're greedy like me. So, I'd love to talk to you about what I've seen about being human. And the first thing is, everybody wants the same thing. So I can meet you there. Now, you might think you want a Maserati or a boyfriend or, a certain amount of money in the bank, or, I don't know, lose your muffin top if you're a middle-aged woman like me, because you think it will get you one of those things. So I say the direct path. As Ian Watson used to say, that's the scenic route, trying to get from the muffin top loss, peace, or whatever it is. So I already know that really what you want is to come home to yourself and experience one of those juicy, gorgeous things. So I already know that. And so I can connect with you as a human in that place. And I also know deeply that we suffer when we're away from home. No exceptions. Now, we don't have to live there, but whenever we experience ourselves away from home, we experience something where we just don't feel at home on the inside. And another word for that, let's call that stress, just shorthand. And I've had the great blessing of coming across an understanding that helps me understand what is stress when I have it and how it works and what's going on. And from a human point of view, I know basically, if we're going to call peace, freedom, fulfillment, love, let's call that well-being, being well. That's just shorthand, well-being, being at home on the inside. And let's like the sun. And then what gets in the way is our temporary stress-created experience, right? This is the human experience. So sometimes we don't feel love, peace, fulfillment, and freedom. Sometimes, if you're like me, you're marching around Waterloo Station looking for someone that works there to tell them to turn off that siren because it's making you feel sick, because it looks like your feeling of stress is coming from the siren. And it was apparently a fire test. But I was cross, you know. I was cross, and I was marching around, and I was, you know, and then I caught myself, and I was like, oh, that's telling me the state of my thinking right now. I've got myself deluded into the illusion that they need to turn that thing off for me to feel okay. And I just didn't stop me from doing it, but it did help me see the insignificance of it, the temporary nature of it, the fact that I was creating it. I was creating it. So we all can have those temporary moments of losing our bearings and losing our way. So I'm going to tell you another being human story. I do tell a lot of, Elizabeth doesn't look good in this stories, but I tell you why I tell them, because so do you, you know, you too, me too, right? This is the deal. This is how it looks to me. Two things are true. The essence of who we are is unchanging, eternal. It's a really good thing to know. Energy, intelligent, connected. Can't break it, can't hurt it, can't go away, can't end, can't be lost. And so I'm going to call that divine. So the essence of who we are is divine, formless energy. Except when I wake up in the morning and I want a coffee, it's not divine, it's my body going, coffee now. So I'm going to say that we're human. Now, there are people who say, you know, there's no you and you're experiencing thought, and there is no you without thought. And like, I can see that, but, you know, I don't care. I still want coffee. So that may be true. And I'm in a body, it looks like to me, that needs certain things if it's to continue in this form. So let's just say formless energy. We're also in this form, and it looks like the laws of nature apply to this form. So those two aspects are both true at the same time. We are divine and we are human. And the human form has sensations, thoughts, feelings, creating its temporary experience, constantly changing. And I honor that. I honor the human form. And all its experiences. See, what if we were so grounded in knowing our divine essence, we could allow all form to be fully, including me having a temper tantrum on Saturday crying because my husband was going to leave me in isolation for another week in the UK on my own. Signed up for 4 days on my own, and he made it into 11. I had to make my own dinner. This is not on. Who makes dinner in our house? I had to do my own washing. I learned how the vacuum worked actually the other day. So, but I signed up for, sorry, I'm the main breadwinner, just saying. But all a story. But I was in grief. I don't know why I was in grief, actually, but I was in grief when I came home. The government says I have to quarantine for 2 weeks. Let's just say I have a different point of view. B, I was up for doing it for 4 days, but not 14 or 11 or whatever it ends up being. And I was looking ahead at a very dark, lonely, isolated, hopeless time where I was going to be, I was going to be bored. I was going to be alone. I was going to feel bad because I was feeling bad. So it looked permanent and it looked real. And in that moment, I was just grieving something. Now, I see this understanding, now I see it, now I don't. But I see it, when I see it deeply. And yet I still had feelings. So there's a temptation, and I love, this is why I often get asked to be on podcasts, but on this occasion, I actually stalked Carolina and Wayne and said, I need to be on your podcast because of the name of it, How to Connect with Humans. I love this conversation about the divine and human, and honoring the human part. And we can so often get caught up in the idea it's all just thought and, I'm just making this up. But have you noticed that doesn't make a damn bit of difference to your experience? Or you're trying to bypass, create a little story about why you shouldn't be feeling, or you get very involved. Why am I feeling what I'm feeling when I know what I know? All of these things happen to us because we complicate it. See, what if the human part just needed to experience whatever it was experiencing fully, without the story? So what if grief, when it arrives at my door, is just felt, which is what I did. I basically woke up for 3 days with tears on my face, which I would call my husband so he could see them, see how sad I was. And then on the 4th day, it was gone. But I allowed myself to fully experience my feeling. But I didn't try and fix it. Or a little bit I fixed it. But no, I really allowed myself to fully feel it. Fully. And I have a sense that the allowing of it brought me back home. The allowing of it, the making it right. So I would say I knew my wisdom said, don't fix or change or get rid of this. There's something in this for you. There's something in this for you to feel. I've become a little dependent on my husband over COVID. He's just amazing. So for 15 years, we've lived in 2 countries. I've gone out to work. He's looked after the kids. Since November, we've lived together. I've still done quite a bit of traveling, but since March, we've been locked in. It's been amazing. And we've fallen into this new rhythm where I do things like this, and then he makes dinner and tidies up and sorts and does the shopping, washing, and, he delivers food into my office. I haven't even asked for it. He just knows I'm hungry. So I've had this incredible blessing, but I'm not going to lie. I got used to it. I got used to it. And I started to realize that was a lot of what I was grieving, was this kind of, where's my services? And also, I didn't quite agree with the government decision. So I felt trapped. And I started to see something about trapped. And I started to see how good I was at avoiding being trapped. And I was now trapped in my house without any distractions except me. And I could start to see the perfection of my experience, to see more about trapped. Because if you've got blind spot, Jack Pransky talks beautifully about blind spots. If you've got a blind spot that you don't want to be trapped, you have no freedom there. If you've got a story about being trapped, you've got thinking about trapped, you've got no freedom there. So I started to sort of realize in my trappedness that I'd create a life that was in avoidance of feeling trapped. So when I started to choose into trapped, I saw that there was no experience that I couldn't choose into. Like there was no experience that I couldn't let be. And it's almost like it's giving me a new relationship with commitment. So I don't know, there's somebody on this call who's got issue with commitment, and because this is what's coming up for me, and I always know that it's for somebody on the call. So there's something about feeling trapped that has us stop committing. So I think I saw more about that. Now, who knows? Maybe I would have seen it anyway, but maybe not. Maybe I had to have this perfect experience to see what I was seeing and to have the insight that I was having, to let my wisdom lead me through my experience. So I don't know if this is making any sense, but I am just sharing with you the human part is all about, as far as I can tell, I mean, it's all the same energy in the end, but we do experience ourselves as a form. It's all about choosing in, allowing, seeing, making everything right, and then seeing what you see from there. And, you know, I did do a day of Netflix and chill on the couch. I did, to avoid my experience. But I noticed I got up the next morning and went, okay, enough of that. Like I did it so much. I didn't want to do it anymore, you know, and I noticed that there was wisdom in that. There was wisdom in drinking wine on my sofa and watching Netflix for a day. And I mean, say yes to the dress kind of Netflix, which is my go-to. It's my go-to when the world's too hard. I just go and go, oh, weddings, love, mothers, yes. Mothers, love, and daughters. I'm one of 4 sisters. So it's that whole world is very, I'm very at home in it. And I have lots of opinions about the dresses. So, you know, who's to say that sitting on the couch, watching Netflix, drinking wine, watching Say Yes to the Dress isn't wisdom? See, wisdom comes in many forms. And it comes from a listening in and a knowing what is needed now. Now, I'm not going to lie, there were moments when I had a little judgment about that. But then I remembered, what if I made this right? What if this was perfect? All this grief and this isolation and this Netflix and this wine. I mean, it wasn't that much wine, but you know what I mean. It was liberating. Oh, and funnily enough, no longer trapped. Yet nothing had changed out there. So I want to just say one more thing about this. And then I think that will probably take us to the last 20 minutes. And I just leave that for you. But I just want to say one thing that's really fresh for me right now in terms of something that doesn't get talked about a lot. Okay? This is big, right? So we kind of sneakily, even after we learn about the 3 principles and how thought works to create our experience, and that all experience is created in thought, and we still end up with a checklist. And there are 2 pieces on the checklist. And on the one side is good feelings, and on the other side of the checklist, bad feelings. Now that's actually not true. There's just feelings, but we decide. And there seems to be, when it comes to being human, a pretty consistent experience of one particular feeling, which is on the bad list and nobody wants to feel it. And that's shame. Shame is I am wrong. And guilt is I did something wrong. And they can go together. But shame is I am wrong. So my essence is wrong. And we can temporarily feel that. Now, the tricky thing about shame is the nature of shame is to be ashamed of itself. So it doesn't do a lot of allowing intrinsically. And I have come to see that there is great power in choosing into all of our experience, especially the ones that we don't want to feel. Trapped, shame, whatever it is, your thing. Rage, fear. And I have found the most beautiful, powerful, transformational words that answer the question, how to connect with humans, are these 3 words. You can't fake it. You've got to mean it. All is welcome. All of me is welcome. All of you is welcome. There is nothing you can experience that I can't meet you as a human being. Oh, I'm going to have to read one of my poems now. Sorry. It's quite short. Is that okay?
Yeah.
This says it better. And I wrote this at the airport. So this is the perfect place for me to complete my little bit. So I'm just going to read you this. It's called There Is No Other. I feel strong and I feel weak. When you tickle me, I squeak, and so do you. I feel rage and then despair. I have days bad for my hair, and so do you. I am proud and I am humble. I can hear my tummy rumble, as do you. I am greedy, then I'm lost. The price is a heavy cost. True for you too. I can bleed and hurt and cry. I am loud and also shy, and so are you. I don't know or even care. I just want things to be fair, and so do you. Many writers before me have writ words that set us free and ring out true. Maya writes that we are more alike than not at our deep core. I know that's true. Donne says the tolling bell is your story that we tell. It is mine too. And lastly, from Terence, a Roman slave of consequence, he'd thought it through. He saw that no human thing could be alien to him, and neither you. So perhaps we can agree there's no other here to see, just me as you.
Wow. That is amazing.
And she's got me. Oh, Elizabeth, I love with the freshness and the honesty that you talk about life. we sometimes don't see the part that we play for other people when we are living in our own little world. Like, you know, it's interesting to see, like, seeing Elizabeth talking about her thinking about feeling trapped at home, and then I think, well, it took Elizabeth to be trapped at home. She felt right at this time in the cold, like this time just changed. So like this episode day sort of moved around for us in terms of like where it was going to go, and you were talking, I thought it took for Elizabeth to feel trapped in her house to remind me my freedom of welcoming all and not feeling trapped. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Total pleasure. One of my favorite things to do, hang out and share with people.
For me, I love the title of this episode, because for me, I've always felt like something's always got my back, no matter what. And I've kind of recently, more so than ever, I've literally just let wisdom just guide me and just lead me wherever I'm going to be. And it's been so distressifying, if you like, because I'm not having to kind of think, oh, I need to be here at this time, I need to be here at this time. Whatever will happen, will happen. If I get stressed, what's that going to do? What's that going to achieve? It's just, you know, for me, it's just to be able to just let go.
Yes,
is amazing.
Well, when we know that our essence is connected to this, or is this universal intelligence, and it's available to us through this thing called wisdom, which, by the way, I cannot tell you how to find it. I can only say it's there and you will know. It's just very vague. However, when you know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know how when you go to buy a house, I think the best way you can see it is when you go to buy a house and you go and see 4 houses, and these houses meet your checklist, or a man. They meet your checklist. You tick them off and you're like, well, that makes sense. And then you go for this other man or this other house.
Yeah.
What is it that has you do that is your wisdom. You know. The one is an intellectual operation and the other is a knowing. You know, when I kissed my husband for the first time, I like to say it like this: my body, mind, and soul connected as one. And when you were angels sang, but really, I just knew this was the person I would have children with and spend the rest of my life with. That's just what I knew, and he did too. Luckily, that was very candy. At the same moment, even better. So, you know, that's the knowing I'm talking about. And I love what you say, Wayne, because it takes a lot off our minds to know that we have that knowing.
Yeah.
To know, as I say in my trainings, not know, but know, like a weird witchy thing. You know, when you know, that's enough. I honestly think when you know, and you know how it works, that's enough. Yeah. That's why Sid said, go live your life, I think. Oh, here's the manual. This is how it works. Oh, you've got wisdom. Oh, you get that? Throw me out the window. Go live your life. If wisdom says go on a boat or a podcast or read 6 books or do 2 years worth of training or spend £30,000 with someone, if wisdom says do that, do it. There's no one right way or white path. Now, what I was saying to the guys earlier, you know, I'm an entrepreneur really, and I've set up all these businesses to try and get the principles out there. And I set up the Real Change portal about 5 years ago or something like that, with an idea that this would gonna get stories and statistics of real change out in the world, create a library of all the existing 3 principles resources, make it easy via Facebook for people to post about their webinars and courses, and showcase Dr. Bill Pettit's stories of change. Now, I did all of that, but I realized that the stories and statistic part was going to be a lot more than I could figure out how to do, and it was need a lot of energy and support. And eventually other people started doing that brilliantly. So I kind of backed off that part. But the Dr. Bill Pettit Real Change series has changed lives. Some of you will have listened to it. 17-part series on mental health. I think the last time I looked, 8,500 downloads of the first one. I think it's over 20,000 of all of them. That's people. Dave was on the call earlier. He and I were real buddies on that. And it changed lives. And it's a body of work that's there. And I never saw that would happen with that. And then, I'm sure people don't realize the origins of, the 3 Principles webinar, or the 3 Principles resources Facebook page, but people use those all the time. So it's like you don't know where it's going to go. You can have ideas of it. You can think it's going to be for a particular reason. You can think it's meeting some kind of mental image of how you think life should go, and this will help you get there. We have no idea why wisdom says do that. That's not our job. We don't need to know why. We just need to know what. And it said, go do this. So I did it. And I could reel off, and I won't, but I could reel off a long list of things that I didn't know I would get from doing all of that. Lessons, skills, experience, knowledge, what not to do, so much richness. I'm about to launch a podcast like these guys called Let Wisdom Lead.
Yes.
And I know, I've done so much with Bill. I feel really easy in that role. It's, oh yeah, podcast, no worries. And I've done actually quite a lot in COVID time as well. So I feel very, I'm sure that somewhere in all of this is the fact that I have done it, podcasting from my bedroom for many years. So that's just one little thing. And I don't think the story's even over yet. I think it will run and run, but it didn't go the way I thought it would, but something better. Yeah. So, sorry, I just riffed off you there, Wayne. Went over it. I think there was some stuff in there that we talked about earlier that I think was good to share. Let wisdom lead.
Yeah.
Enough.
And that's exactly what happened with your stuff.
Yeah.
Wisdom's just kind of taken it in a different direction. You had an idea.
Yes.
Wisdom's taken it completely somewhere else.
That's exactly right.
And I think for me, when you said that, what came to my mind was, I have an idea of what I want to do with my pupils in driving lessons. Yet something different could come up when they get in the car.
Yeah.
I just adapt to it. I'm just like, okay, do whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not kind of one of these people that's kind of, okay, we've agreed on this last lesson, we need to do this. No.
And, my mentor, Kathy Casey, she said, yeah, have a game plan. Have a game plan. Nothing wrong with the game plan, but it's got nothing to do with the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it might. Or not. I love it when people say, oh, yeah, no, I forgot to say this. And you're like, I don't care. I didn't know what you forgot to say. I'm interested in what you are saying. You know how when you listen to a presenter and they're like, oh, now what else? You're like, oh, I don't care about that. I care about what you're actually saying to me, not what you thought you should say. It's actually, I'm more interested in you expressing what you're seeing than I am in you following some kind of checklist for yourself. That's the feeling is different, right? Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah, let's have a look. Well, we unmute people, so Wayne's going to do that, and while he's doing that, just give me a sec. So Lynn said, sorry, I can't read it because it's now something else, one of these sticky things I did there. So she said, I had the wisdom to know that too. When I first met, I think you were talking about when you met your husband, and when I first met my husband in 1989, I knew I was going to marry him with a month of meeting him. Here we are in 2020, and we've been divorced since 2012. And that I didn't know would happen. So I don't know if Lynn would like to maybe add something else to that, or ask a question, or because I know, and we all know, that we usually are asked from our clients, several people, like people usually ask us, well, when you say you know, what do you mean you know? Like, how do you know you know? Like, how do you know that is from wisdom or it's coming from somewhere else?
Oh, okay.
Right?
Well,
But I don't know if that's her question, but please feel free, all of you, to either put your hand up or unmute yourself. Well,
I'd love to speak to that briefly, and then if there's anything else for Lynn, but I think there's something really important to know about wisdom. It's a moving target. So what is true for me today, in this moment, is when wisdom is available. I can't know what wisdom will say to me tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So I can decide today that I'm with the love of my life, and then tomorrow at 5 o'clock, something else. I'm not saying I will, I hope I don't, but I have noticed, and I will say this, I've been in 5 or 6 partnerships, and each of them had a sell-by date, and they were all forever. Business partnerships. And then it turns out that at a certain moment, it no longer made sense. And I honestly, the degree to which I fought against reality was the degree to which I suffered. But if I was to look into my deeper intuitive knowing, I probably did know that it was done. I probably did know, I just didn't want it to be. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about wisdom. You know, that little, lots of ways we can access it, okay? Little voice, conscience, intuition, gut feeling, instinct. But don't get caught up with that word, that, you know, one of those words. The best language I've used is knowing. And I mean knowing, you know, in your bones. But most people know what that means. And often why we don't follow it, and I really have to hold my hand up for this. We've been taught we need a logical, rational argument, intellectual argument for everything we do. And if you try and work in corporates, the first thing they're going to ask you is, show me the evidence. And we have sidelined the feminine arts, and everyone has the feminine energy within, not just women, but we've sidelined the feminine arts of intuition, feeling, kind of not knowing without knowing, you know, without kind of having researched or whatever, just knowing what's right. But look at it. We're built for it, right? What happens when your kid's sick? You just know you have to, you know, deal with it, or you know it's fine. We're all born to do that. That's men too, by the way. When you pay attention to that part of you that's just clear, knows, it's simple, but we can override it. We can have an intellectual discussion with ourselves about why we don't want to follow wisdom. And I can really see that with a couple of partnerships. It was obvious that it was time, but I had other ideas. in my head. But if I look back, I can see, I overrode something there. I wasn't really listening. I was getting ideas of how it should be. So, Lynn, I don't know, but it sounds like, I'm not saying wisdom will predict the future, but it was right for you to marry him. And then I don't know how you feel about not marrying him, but it's reality. But, the reality is that you're not married. And I can only assume that there must be wisdom in that too, available. Because I think there's wisdom in reality. What is? We're designed. The human divine design works perfectly to meet the needs of the moment. So whatever you're up against in this moment, you're designed to meet the needs. And we only ever live moment by moment anyway. So, and the conduit is with your wisdom will guide you. Yeah.
No, that was very helpful, Elizabeth. It was really good. Yeah, you're saying some really cool stuff. Thanks.
And I just want to say shout out to Lynn Canali for always liking my posts. Go, Lynn.
Yay.
Never met you before, but definitely notice you like my posts often. So thank you for that. Nice to meet you. And I'm glad it was of service to you.
Yeah, it's good. Thank you.
Anybody want to ask me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lee.
There you go. Lee, you can unmute yourself, I think. Can you?
Yeah. I can.
There
I was a
you
little bit relaxed there. I'm sort of slowly lowering as I go. So I love that, Elizabeth. And I guess the question is, I'm with this freedom and freedom of choice. And I love what you said about the wisdom directs you no matter what. So being open to all. And I have this sort of visual now, because I'm a little weird, of someone having some pole at my backside and sort of moving me around everywhere they want me to go, right? Which hopefully is me behind me. But I'm wondering, does that mean, so where is that freedom of choice? Because is the freedom of choice that we can direct ourselves? Or is it, as the words of Michael Neal, which I love, is let go of the reins of a rocking horse on the back of a pickup truck? I mean, is it like, are we like, the 3-year-old helping doing the washing up? It's like we're not really doing anything. It just sort of keeps us busy while wisdom and life directs us. Or are we actually running the show in some way, shape, or form? Like, as Lynn said, I mean, if there's wisdom there in everything that happens, is there any reason to even worry? Well, that's answered its own question, but is there ever any reason to actually think we are in control of our actions?
Okay, that last word changed where I was going to go. So, are we in control of our actions? Is a different question than are we in control? Are we in control?
Right.
Question mark.
I realize I understand
both questions. I think you're asking both questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Excellent.
Okay. Now I'm going to give you a bit more than that. But yeah, do we have free will? Yes. Are we, is it all God? Yes. So do we control? What do we control? Okay. I think this is I'm seeing this changes. What I see here changes depending on what we're talking about. But I want to say it like this. most of us go through the first part of our lives, and I don't know when that ends, but let's just say the first part, and it ends at some point, where it looks to us that things that happen in the world are creating our experience. We're a victim of circumstance. Okay? So it looks like we have no choice.
Right.
You're probably drawn to this call because you kind of know that's not true. You're drawn to this being in this conversation because you've got a sense that that's not true. And even if it is true, you'd rather wish it weren't. So you'd like to not be a victim of circumstance. So that's the first seeing we have choice, that new fresh thought is always available. We are not a victim of our circumstance. Our experience comes to us through our thoughts, and they're creating our experience, and our thoughts are a function of what we believe to be true. And we can get habits of thoughts, and things can look real. So when we start to get a glimpse of everything is created in thought, we start to realize that we have choice, what we can give energy to or not. And when I say we, that's the divine being part of us has choice to, I could feed my poor me story or not. So there it looks like we have choice, right? When we become aware. But then we move deeper, I want to say higher and lower, both deeper and higher. We ascend and descend, and we see that we're not really choosing our thoughts. They're coming and going on their own.
Right.
And we start to see more about, this is where all the spiritual teachers go now, into this kind of, don't forget about the content of your thinking. Look at where it's coming from, the spiritual power of thought. And when you start to get in a sense of that, that's so much bigger than you. You can't possibly be in control. It's arising in you. So ultimately, it's all God, or universal mind, or the spiritual intelligence of all things experiencing itself through Elizabeth today. And the more I see that to be true, like Wayne said, the less on my mind, the less stressed I am. Because, wisdom, yeah, I've got that. And that will come. I'm going to follow that. See, for me, Elizabeth Lovius, following my wisdom feels like surrender to no choice. And at that level, that is freedom.
Right.
And many people are stuck in, I'm a victim of my circumstance. And it's empowering for them to see that they have a choice. So it's true. We both do and we both don't. And ultimately, see, I wouldn't say that to most people, but ultimately, I can see that it is all God's will, and which is what a lot of religious people say. I've noticed that when I listen, sorry, we're at time, aren't we? But we did start 6 minutes late. So I'm just going to say this thing. I've started to realize, I used to get quite irritated when I would watch lots of, anything. And people would start to kind of, through the modality of their religion, say, oh, it's all God's will. It felt so passive and irresponsible. And I now hear it different. I hear the perfection in choosing what is as God-given. you know, that's what I see now. That's what I see now. And I was really, really interested in taking responsibility, taking charge, and making shit happen before I came across the understanding. So it looked like it was all up to me. I'm going to tell you where that leads. That leads to burnout. Don't do that. So I was overly responsible. Overly, it's my choice kind of thing. So really for me personally in my journey with this understanding, to surrender to the wisdom of God as it manifests in me is a simpler road. More peace, more freedom, more fulfillment, more love. And I just want to say, there are no accidents in life. Do you know what Elizabeth means? Wisdom from God. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
We're going to listen to Elizabeth, obviously.
Wake up your wisdom. Wendy, love to Wendy Majeezy. She that was her name of her business. She died last year. But yeah, wake up. I'm just here to wake up yours. That's it. You don't need mine.
Thank you.
Oh my God, it's time to go. I didn't do a lot of questions, but thank you, Lee. Thank you.
We're in no rush. We don't need to finish on after an hour. So
if anyone's got anything,
an hour and a half usually. So it's if you don't have to go, we have time. So
I have to go. Sorry.
Well, go and do whatever you
can. Thank you so much. And because anyway, people usually then if not catch the rest on the video. Thank you, Lee, so much. And Michelle's got her hand up. So Michelle, you can unmute yourself.
I can't see any Michelle. Oh, Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh God, I wanted to say 3 thank yous. So first of all, the first thank you is the very first experience I had of the 3 Ps was 7-8 weeks ago, and I was on a call with you and Ian Watson. I joined late. I didn't have a clue what you were talking about, but something caught my interest. And I then went on to join some different groups, and I'm not going to say stumbled across, because I'm right there with you about, like, there are no accidents in life, like nothing is a coincidence. So I didn't stumble across. I was obviously drawing Wayne and Carolina to me. They might be horrified by me saying that, but anyway. And the very first call that I went on, it was with Steve Adair, and that was my wake up moment. That was when I went, and to this day, I can't tell you what it was he said, whatever. So that's my first thank you. My second thank you is for your just amazing, I don't know, essence. It's beautiful. Actually, there's 4 thank yous. Thank you for your series with Dr. Bill. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's amazing. And I'm doing a course with him, 1 Cause, 1 Cure, in September, and I'm really looking forward to that. And the last one is, my goodness, you could have got a brick and like smashed it on my head. I had a massive insight during this call, and it was when you said about commitment, and I was like, oh my God, that's me. And I didn't even know it. I didn't know it until you said it. And when you started talking about commitment and trapped, I was like, excuse my French, but I was like, holy shit, that's me. I had this thing in my head, and I didn't even realize it until now, that if I got into another relationship, that was Michelle trapped. And that's not true. That's just such a load of rubbish. That's based on my attachment to previous relationships. So that's just a load of old codswallop. And and that was it really. And just thank you. I've absolutely loved it. Yeah, amazing.
Oh,
One more thing actually that might make your day. I don't, well, no, it's
you already
made
have.
made my day. I don't care what it does to anybody else's day. So no, well, I've been having Carolina is my coach, just so you know, and she's amazing. I didn't want to just throw that in, but I did. I was having some conversations with her yesterday, had like wow moments yesterday. I've just been having a series of, the last 7 weeks has been like a train of insights. And I feel like the onions, it's probably not peeled, but it's virtually peeled. And now that's completely lost me, what I was going to say.
Well, if it comes back, there's something with Carolina and your coaching.
Yes, sorry. Yes, so when I was talking to Carolina yesterday, I had some insights, and yeah, I don't know, there was just something in it, and I didn't sleep very well last night, and then I had the most bizarre dream ever. But something came to me today, and it was like, Michelle, what are you afraid of? I've been playing small, just so you know. I've been playing small for a set of reasons that I won't go into. But today it really hit me, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, you have no clue. You might not even be here tomorrow. So why are you playing small? So all of a sudden today, that's gone out the window as well. And I've just like literally, these opportunities have come to me, and I've just gone, do you know what? No, I'm going to take these, because these are I know I'm doing the I know thing. I know that I am on the right path. I know that my future is unfolding perfectly in front of me, and I can see it. I just didn't trust it. But now I trust it. I trust it. As of today, I trust it. So thank you. That's it.
That I have always had wisdom, and so have you, but I didn't know where it came from, how it worked, and that I could trust it. And that is what I got from the understanding the principles.
Yeah.
And to see that is everything, Michelle. So it's fantastic.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Really.
Oh, that's good.
Beautiful.
I already knew, but you know, it's nice that you know.
Yeah.
I love the know and the no. I love that. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now.
No, it's beautiful. I did those calls in COVID. Wisdom told me to do it. You know, and I didn't know how or who, but I knew it would touch people, and that they would get what they needed from it, and that we'd create a body of work that people could come back to. And, you know, so I just knew to do it.
Yeah.
And today, I don't normally talk about commitment ever, but I knew to talk about it. And I said it out loud. I let wisdom lead real time. And look, that's how it works.
Yeah.
I didn't know who.
I know. I just feel like I'm a free onion now.
Yes, you're a free onion. There you go. Let's be free onion. Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, pleasure, really. Thanks for saying that.
No, you're welcome.
Thank you, Michelle. Oh, bless you. Oh, feel free to come back, Michelle, if you need to.
It's tears of joy. Honestly, it's tears of joy. It's not upset. I promise you, it's not upset. I've cried today too many times at the stupidest little thing, but it's because I know I'm there. I know you're never, like, there are so many different levels of consciousness, but I just know that I know I'm there. I know I'm protected. I knew it before, but I didn't really believe it, and now I just believe it. I really truly believe it, and it's just such a beautiful thing.
It is. Savor it.
Oh well, I won't need a wash tonight. Hey. honestly, I'm good. It's tears of joy. It really is tears of joy.
So beautiful. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for sharing with us.
Thank you.
So, do we have anybody else that wants to ask something or share your experience? Share something you've seen.
We can leave it here as well. That's fine too.
Yeah. Give it a minute. Just sometimes last minute somebody has something to say. But it's such a beautiful feeling, and like Dr. Bill Pettit says, like, we have this amazing place in life to, I mean, I'm just paraphrasing, I can't remember exactly what he said, but that we can sit here and see these gifts of people unwrapping and getting in touch with the wisdom in front of us. That is from everybody in this call, is literally, when Elizabeth, you were saying like something you felt the call of like making certain calls during COVID. This is what sort of opened the door for us in our heads. It was like, well, we want to do something to help. We want to do something that's going to be free for people to access, whether they can come on the call, they can have it later. Was to be of service. And what we also know is the level of service that people give to us when they come and join us and are part of this. We just provide the space, and then everybody brings the other rest of the pieces of the cake.
Full cake.
Cake. So thank you so much. You are your sunshine.
You are. It's been amazing.
You're so beautiful. I just can't have no words, honestly, to say thank you. And to be honest, if you haven't asked, we'll probably have asked you probably 3 minutes later to be in this series.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because we love what you do.
Oh.
So where can people find you?
So something has happened in my sense of focus since COVID. So I took the COVID time to just do a lot of things to serve the community. And what I've come to realize, both Ian and I have come to realize, that we're going back to our roots, and we're too, how do I put this? We need to be spread around. So me and Ian always together, we love it, but also our work is now to go out. And so he's focusing on healers, and I am focusing on change makers and people that want to make change in the corporate setting, either internally or externally. So that would be executive coaches, it would be leaders, and it would be anybody in human resources. So anybody who wants to make change happen in a corporate setting, I'm going to be doing a membership for that starting soon. And I'm going to also be launching a program in the new year, which is all about how do you do that? How do you make change happen from the core? So it will be a deep dive into that. So that's coming up. You can find me on, where can you find me best at the moment? Because I've got too many websites. I'm going to say Leadership Wisdom for now, .info. But if you Google my name, you'll find me. Elizabeth Lovius. There's only one of me in the world. Lovius. And I'm all over the place and done loads of podcasts. But leadershipwisdom.info is probably where I'm going to talk about my change-making programs. So watch this space, and you can sign up to my newsletter there, and you can find out what I'm up to. And I do lots of free stuff, and I also do various different things all the way through to, I've decided very excitingly to have apprentice this year. I've got my first apprentice. So if you want to be me, that I'm doing an apprenticeship as well. You can't be me, obviously, but you know. So I'm doing lots of different things, but all with that central theme. Because I'm thinking, if we get really effective at navigating change, because that looks like the uncertainty is the only certainty we have right now. If we get really good at that, especially in the corporate environment, imagine how much good can be done. You know, how much wisdom. What if we let wisdom lead in the corporate setting? That's the game I'm playing. So that's what I'm up to now. Who knew? Who knew that? Well, that's what's happening. And my whole thing, let wisdom lead. Be human, let wisdom lead. That's it. So, you know, watch this space. There's more coming. I'm really excited about my membership. So excited. I just can't wait. Yeah, so that's coming up next.
Brilliant. So we'll put the links underneath.
Yeah.
The videos, and we'll share on the one that we're going to share tonight, and when we edit, and we'll put it.
Yeah, leadershipwisdom.info. That's but my name will find me.
So Michelle said, so beautiful, thank you so much. I love you all, and hugs and kisses. And Leslie says, so sorry to have arrived a bit late. I got busy elsewhere. I look forward to listening to the recording. Love from Leslie, the Fort Dweller. So
the Fort Dweller, yeah. Yeah.
we know.
Great to have you all.
Our beautiful Leslie is also part of our inside space with
Yes, I know. Leslie and I have interacted many times.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the chance, because I just love to do this. So I really love to do these kind of calls with people who I know are looking in the same direction. So I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And so before we go, next week, we have Natasha Swaldo, and she's going to talk about realizing your true self. So she's the co-author, author, some to say, of Coming Home with Deacon Bettinger, and they work together very often. Natasha is really, really lovely. She's worked with lots of people, and we will have her on Wednesday at
6 p.m.
same time as today, so 6 p.m. for us here in the UK, or it will be 10 a.m. Pacific time, about 1 p.m. Eastern. And so thank you very much to everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I've been here still after 7 years.
You fired me up for most of it.
And you see, and people call me bossy. They don't know that you are like the puppeteer behind the scene.
Ah, yes, I did get that.
When Lee was asking who is behind us, you know, it's Wayne.
I don't think I'm behind everyone.
Oh, and Karina has a doggy who's so sweet. Look at that. Oh, so thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. So please let us know if there's something you would like to let us know later. Just send us a message, or if you need any more information, we can give it to you. And Elizabeth, go and enjoy your house.
I will. I'm like, yeah, I love being alone now.
The remote is all yours.
Yes, that is so true. And the bed.
And the Hoover, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I can at least take the risk with it. The bed's out. Very good. Okay, thank you again. Lovely to
Thank
be spending
you.
time with you all.
Take
Lots
care.
of love, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.